This is Dianne and Mouse. Welcome to Biters.
And this is Marnell, and you haven't lived until you've bounced a signal off the ionosphere.
Okay, so I was loving the chick who was, the old lady who was flirting with Dante. Son,
I love it.
You like a twig.
I believe she would.
I believe
that boy is all talk.
She would. So, we are here to talk about The Walking Dead, Season 10, Episode 6, entitled Bonds.
Bond. James Bond. No, I'm just kidding. Not that Bond.
Well, so, what'd you think?
So, I've really been in this, mid-4 range this entire season. The season is super solid. Nothing has topped the first episode, but I gave this one a 4.4, 5 and dime Frankensteins.
I, too, have been in the solid 4s, mostly in the upper 4s, mostly A range. This one I rated a little lower than last week. I'll talk a little more about that. I gave it a 4.2 ball trippin' vision quests out of 5. But I do think it's going to improve on rewatch.
Yes and no.
You rewatched it. I didn't get a chance to. I'm podcasting with having only seen it once.
Yeah.
Because my life is crazy.
Because life. But at least we're podcasting, because we had some major technical difficulties earlier.
Ugh, Skype.
We almost didn't get to bounce our signal off the ionosphere.
Or any other sphere, for that matter.
Oh, I think the Russians are hacking us again.
I think they are, too.
Yep.
Thomas Amara, give us some conservative cred. Tell Devin Nunes to knock it off. About hacking us, that is. Nothing else. All right. So the numbers. I kind of am at the point where I don't even like doing the numbers anymore. So yeah. Rick and Morty was number 1 on Sunday. I don't watch it. Do you watch it? I kind of figured you probably did.
No?
I
don't. I have a lot of friends who watch it, and I've kind of wanted to watch it because it seems like it's right up my alley, but it's one of those where I feel like there's just so many hours of television out there that I can never catch up.
Oh my God. I can't even. And I'm still on my massive, crocheting, knitting, holiday binge, which, by the way, Brian, if you're out there, Pikachu and Charmander are progressing. That's all I have to say. Anyway, so Rick and Morty were number 1. The Walking Dead was number 2 on Sunday night. We don't have numbers for the week yet. We just have the numbers for Sunday night. But it actually had a little bit of uptick in the 18 to 49 group, and it was 3.212 million views overall on Sunday.
But here's the thing. So Disney Plus just released on Tuesday. So I kind of think everyone's going to lose themselves in binging on nostalgia.
I have said no more streaming services. I would actually consider signing up for Disney Plus. It's only $7 a month.
Okay, but seriously though, we are not plugging this. I don't have it, so I'm not totally endorsing it. We're not getting paid, but it's $12.99 for Disney Plus, ESPN Plus, and Hulu advertised. So you do get the ads on that Hulu.
Really?
But
so I could get Hulu and Disney for $13. I don't care about ESPN Sports Ball, but
I know, yeah, Sports Ball, but. That's a really good deal. I have a friend who did the whole, like, you buy 3 years up front, and this was like a year ago when they were just talking about doing this. He bought like 3 years up front, and it was like some crazy discount. It was like $1.99 a year for 3 years. So he paid $6 for this. Oh, I'm so jealous I didn't get in on that action.
I don't know, man. Those $13 a month is still nothing. That's 2-3 lattes.
So I
depending on how well you tip.
I pay over $100 for my cable every single month.
Oh,
and so if you think about that, all the stuff that you watch and don't watch, like of all the stuff that I watch, I could probably condense it down into like AMC, Netflix,
Hulu.
Hulu, Amazon Prime. Like, I already have most of that stuff anyway. So, I mean, I could get 5 or 6 other streaming deals and cancel my cable and probably still save money.
So I gotta tell you, hat tip to Diana, who does Aim for the Head with Steve. She also does a Handmaid's Tale podcast. And I still have not watched Handmaid's yet because I read the book. I read the book like 30 years ago.
I love anything like dystopian future.
I have more to say about Handmaid's Tale, by the way, when we get there.
Oh, interesting.
It's nothing
Not
big.
the direction I thought you were going.
All right, but back to The Walking Dead. Although I think you're right. I think, when did Disney streaming come out? It came out on the 12th, didn't it? So it just started yesterday.
Okay. Oddly Tuesday. So I don't understand. Half people got a 3-day weekend. Why did you not release it on Friday so everyone could binge their weekend away?
Good
I don't
point.
understand. Tuesday. Yeah.
Good point.
Yeah, release Tuesday. So Walking Dead may lose its +7 this week because everyone is like, I had people that like stopped work to explore it on their phones.
Okay,
because I guess
that's
you can just
bad.
get a ton of cool stuff.
I mean, I can kind of relate sometimes, but that's bad.
Yeah, they were geeking out. There was a lot of like cool old stuff on there.
All right, so let's get into the title. I saw like all these new and old bonds, like between characters, right? Mm-hmm. So, I really felt like this episode was exploring relationships like Siddiq and Dante, Siddiq and his baby, Eugene and Rosita, Eugene and Stephanie.
I absolutely agree, but of course I had to overthink it.
Okay, so hold on before you overthink it because I want to say this really fast. I felt like Beta and Alpha and Carol and Daryl really mirrored each other.
I will have to go back and watch that on my rewatch.
They just, they've both been a unit for so long. And they both know each other really, both of those couples, and I don't mean couples as in relationships, but as in duos, know each other really well. But there was also this crisis of confidence in both of the relationships.
Well, and both relationships are very explicitly platonic.
Platonic.
That's what I said.
You said plutonic.
Oh, did I?
Yeah, like Pluto.
I will tell you, I had such a day that I literally came home and opened 2 beers at once.
I know.
And went into the bedroom and did my rewatch.
Which, by the way, everyone, Lilith Hellfire, speaking of beer and Marnell, has agreed to marry Marnell if she moves to Florida. I told them I could vacation there. So
I might be able to snowbird, except for shipping my dogs back and forth that much would just be a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
6 weeks on, unfortunately, 6 months on, 6 months off, kind of like Persephone.
Right.
All right. So, anyway, you overthought the title. So tell us what you overthought.
So I looked up what a bond is. A bond is a thing to tie something or fasten something together, or it's a deed by which a person is committed to make payment to another. Force or feeling. It's also a promise. There's legal bonds. And so when Daryl and Carol stepped over the boundary, they were breaking their word. They were breaking their bond.
Oh, very good.
And then at the end, Stephanie over the radio and Eugene made kind of a pact not to tell anybody about what was going on. They made a bond. Negan pledged his loyalty to Alpha. He was pledging a bond.
Negan was
there was
also
a lot
in
of
bonds, as in tied up. No, I seriously thought of that.
So was the captured Whisperer. Daryl made it a point to point out that Carol brought zip ties. She totally planned that. So, yeah, there was a lot of bonds in this episode. And in every sense of the word.
I like that you totally overthought it. Because I overthought it a little bit, but I didn't take it nearly as far as you did.
Well, and so one of the very first things, so we saw the Daryl and Carol in the opening, and then we cut to Dante and the woman, his patient.
Who was hilarious. She's one of my favorite types of patients.
So bodies manifest emotions in all sorts of different ways. The heart wants what it wants. And so that's another type of a bond, a relationship between two people, a chemical bond, a romance. Yeah, there was a lot to read into this episode, so I had to overthink it.
Well, and so, again, with the overthinking, I think it might improve upon rewatch. All right, so our writer was a guy named Kevin Diebolt or Diebolt. We're not quite sure how to pronounce it. This is his first foray into writing for The Walking Dead. He has been a producer for all 6 episodes this season so far. He has worked as a writer on a show called Kevin Probably Saves the World, which you said the other half really likes.
Yeah.
And then
I haven't watched it.
Then he's worked as a writer on a series called Copper, and you said you've watched some of that.
I did. So I watched like the first couple, probably 2 to 4 episodes. I can't remember. It aired back in 2012 to 2013. It was 2 seasons, and it is set in the 5 Points neighborhood of New York City in the 1860s. And you'll like this. It focuses on a young Irish cop that is forced to navigate an unruly and dangerous immigrant neighborhood while interacting with the uptown Manhattan crowd. So, yeah, it was really, really good. I love a good period piece and anything with accents. So, and it was a cop drama.
Right? Yeah, it was like SVU in the 1800s with an accent.
Right? Yeah. God, what was that Leonardo DiCaprio movie that they were in 5
Gangs
Points?
of New York, wasn't it?
Yeah. So, very similar vibe. Yeah.
Well, and he's also...
Yeah,
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I kind of fell out of watching it. It was one of those that I had to pay attention to, and I have 0 attention span, so I have to. Maybe I'll go back and rewatch it because it's only 2 seasons.
We have some attention span because we podcast every week, and we're halfway articulate. So the writer Kevin also worked on Borgia, which I heard was a really good historical drama. I have not watched it, but I think if you probably liked like The Tudors, that it would probably be something that would be right up your alley. And then our director we have talked about before. It was Dan Liu, Liu. He has a short in completion called The Last. He has directed 3 episodes of The Walking Dead. He has also directed 2 episodes of Fear, including Channel 4, which was the cult recruitment video last season. So, at least it wasn't the Virginia cult recruitment episode.
Yeah, Channel 5.
Right.
So I have to say, I think he was our director last episode. We had talked about Eli Jorn.
Okay.
Jorn. And we were talking about he was a writer last episode. He was also a writer in a little short film called The Trial of Han Solo. We talked about this.
Did you find it?
I found it.
Yes.
It is on YouTube. And I posted it to Biters, so you guys can check that out. It's a little slow. I would like a little more dramatic music because it's like a Perry Mason type trial, but it does start out with a Law and Order dunk dunk. So I thought
funny.
That was hilarious. But there is an after the credits scene that is absolutely hilarious. If you get bored and you don't want to watch it all, skip to after the credits. It's really funny.
I'm going to have to find time in my crazy week and watch that. That's worth devoting 20 minutes to.
Yeah, it is.
Well, so you did a deeper dive for our featured cast member than I think I had a chance to do today. So tell us about our featured cast.
I wouldn't say that. I was super distracted today. Today was like day 1 of impeachment hearings. Whether you love it or hate it, it is very historic. So I was riveted. And then I need to send you Narwhal Puppy. Have you seen this?
No.
There is a puppy with a tail growing out of his head.
Okay, that's
He's
just
adorable.
weird.
So I was totally distracted all day. I did not do my due diligence. But our featured cast member, you would think it would be the Captured Whisperer because we know we're going to see more of him. But it's actually the voice on the radio, Stephanie. The actress' name is Margot Bingham. And most of you will probably know her from Boardwalk Empire, where she is a magnificent jazz singer.
And she has credits as a singer-songwriter as well as an actress, so that makes sense.
Yes. So I actually know her from the show called New Amsterdam.
I have to tell you that's on the list.
So she's actually currently on the show now. She is playing the fiance of one of the surgeons, and I really like their storyline and her character and everything. So I kind of recognized her when I looked her up on IMDb because, of course, we don't see her in the show. We just hear her voice. And I have to say, you know, Eugene's probably going to be pretty happy that Rosita took a pass on him
because she's a babe.
Margot Bingham is gorgeous.
Not that Christian Serratos is not, but yeah,
no,
I hear you.
She's not. But I mean, you know, if you're gonna strike
rebound.
out, yeah. This is a really really good consolation prize. So she's a native of Pittsburgh, if I could talk. And she started modeling when she was 9 and then attended the Pittsburgh High School for Creative and Performing Arts. She has been in the off-Broadway revival of Rent.
Yes.
And so she is known as a singer, and she's also on the Boardwalk Empire soundtrack, but she has released albums under pseudonym Margot B. She had a 2009 pop CD with it was called 2000 Mine instead of 2009, 2000 Mine.
Ah, okay.
And then she performed, let's see, Lies at Hazelett in 2012. Bingham was nominated for an Independent Music Award for Best Cover Song. Let's see, there was something about she actually goes and plays in places in New York City.
So who did she cover? Did they say what the cover song was?
No, it doesn't.
Oh, that's too bad.
She's opened for Jason Mraz, and she regularly performs at New York City's Rockwood Music Hall, Webster Hall, and Brooklyn Academy of Music, or BAM. So you can catch her there sometimes, maybe.
Okay, she sounds amazing.
She is. So, like, I'm not pulling any of this off of her IMDb profile. She has a ton of media out there. So, she has got Facebook, Instagram, a YouTube channel, Twitter. She has a MySpace, as well as her own webpage.
Who still has a MySpace?
I know, right?
Margot
I probably
Bingham.
still have a MySpace, but I don't remember the password. So, yeah, we are hopefully going to see a lot more of Stephanie. We're definitely going to hear more from Stephanie.
I think we're going to. I don't think they would have cast someone who is this known if they weren't intending to use her to her full capacity. And there's a lot of storyline for this character if they follow the comic book arc, which they were pretty true to some comic book stuff this episode.
So, like I said, she is currently on New Amsterdam. So, I mean, I don't know if you can film two shows at once. She does have a very, I would say, a minor part on New Amsterdam, but I kind of think she's stand out because she's gorgeous and I like her character. But she's only credited so far with this one episode of Walking Dead.
Nah, we'll see her back.
She has a short completed, and she has something called Tiger Tail in post-production. And I believe she was also... there's going to be a Barbershop 3, I believe. And she's supposed to be in that. So she's got a lot of work coming up, but I'm pretty sure she can probably fit in some Walking Dead time.
Well, so the only thing... Oh, go ahead.
Especially if she's just a voice.
So the only thing I have to add, and this is the only place where I really did any kind of deep exploration, she is really active in charitable work as well.
That's right.
And there were two organizations that were mentioned in her IMDb page. One is a group called City Harvest.
Mm-hmm.
And they actually work on feeding the hungry in New York City. And then another one was called Orphaned Starfish, which is all about helping at-risk youth, kids who are orphaned, kids who are survivors of abuse or trafficking, Indigenous kids. So I thought I would post links to both of those organizations so people could take a look at them.
So on her webpage, it also mentions that, and similarly, she is involved with the George Malika Foundation, Gala for fostering empowerment in the Congo and supporting LGBTQ youth.
Very cool.
So, yeah, she is definitely a woman of the people.
Well, I think we're going to see a lot more of, and hear a lot more of Stephanie. So
I hope so. Like I said, I really like her character, even though it's a really minor character on New Amsterdam. And you know, Boardwalk Empire was on the list, or it still is on the list. It's just really way down there. There's so many episodes to catch up on.
Oh my god. Well, New Amsterdam is on the list for me because I have not been invested in a medical drama since Nurse Jackie. So which was amazing.
I know. That Grey's Anatomy is another one that I'm just like, there's just too many episodes. So I started New Amsterdam when it was first started, and I also started The Resident when it first started. So I'm up on those, but the rest of them I'm just like, ugh, I haven't got through 6 Feet Under. I haven't got through Deadwood. God, God, what did I start this weekend? I started, The Purge is back on. And you know me, I'm in the mood right now for a purge or a zombie apocalypse. I will take either one.
But what did you say about the ZA?
That my friends and I tonight were actively plotting either the next zombie apocalypse or maybe a Planet of the Apes takeover. We're just going to break into an animal test facility and release all the monkeys and just see what happens.
But don't let it happen until after season 10 of The Walking Dead is over.
Yeah, definitely. And I'm totally kidding, but we really, really were talking about this because we were talking about how everyone would go to Costco, but our Costco would be a great place because there's a Costco and a Home Depot right next to each other, so you have all the building materials. And then there's this really nice furniture store around the block. And then right across the street, there's a brewery. And there's like a place that like takes like junk metal and cars and stuff. And so we could just do a whole perimeter around this big old block and it'd be great. It'd be sanctuary.
I know where I'm going for the ZA. Since I don't have horses or sled dogs anymore, I'm in big trouble up here, so I better get with you.
This is how my day is going. We are actively planning our zombie apocalypse bunkers.
So my day actually started with active shooter training, which is really exciting to think that you work somewhere where you have to think about active shooter training. But
anywhere.
Well, and while they were talking about, so there's this whole new thing. It's no longer shelter in place, right? It's like, get out if you can. If not, actively resist. Do whatever you can.
Yeah.
So
flight, what is it? Hide, flight, or fight?
Well, so the dude who was teaching it today was kind of talking about all the different things that we could use in our various areas to defend ourselves, and I thought, all I need is a good fountain pen and The Walking Dead.
Letter opener, pair of scissors, yeah. We were talking, because we had active shooter training last week, and we were talking about this. Anytime I go into a new office, I have an escape route. Like, I don't know if it's because of some of the places that I've worked that have taught this because of the people that we work with, the type of people in the public that we work with. But I had this whole route planned out in my last office because I had a ledge that I could jump down onto, kind of an overhang on the street. It was basically a 1-story hop and then a 1-story hop. And so now I'm in a big old cement building. I can get out of my windows, but I'm 5 stories up. So yeah, that one's out.
No, it's like the chick who was in Dirty John. It's because you've watched too many episodes of The Walking Dead.
Right? And, I listened to too many true crime podcasts and I watched too much Dateline. And there's 2 serial killers in Alaska right now. Both of them one of them's caught. The other one they're looking for.
The dude who's on the run after the murder of 3 in my area.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the world's a scary place.
All right.
We just need a good plague to wipe out about 90% of us. And
what?
I know that I will be part of that 90%. Trust me. I have no illusions.
Before the ZA, there are a couple of things that I want to say. First of all, I know I'm only a couple of decades late, but I finally started watching The West Wing this weekend because of Bradley Whitford's interview on Angry Americans.
Man, the other half has been trying to get me to watch West Wing for like 5 years.
It's great.
Basically since the last election.
It's great. And Bradley Whitford is amazing. Plus, he has a role for which he just won an award in Handmaid's Tale. Actually, I don't think he won. I think he was nominated. The other thing that I wanted to talk about before I went into Whisperer's Corner is I watched the movie Overlord this weekend. Have you seen it?
I don't think so.
Okay, so it's a J.J. Abrams production. It's basically The Walking Dead meets Inglourious Bastards.
Huh.
So it's...
Okay, I have to admit I haven't seen Inglourious Basterds.
Oh my God,
I know
it's
that's
so
blasphemous.
good. It's so good.
I know.
So this is a World War II drama, and the Nazis have a super soldier, which basically is kind of a zombie.
Oh, okay. I remember seeing the advertisements for this one.
There were ads for it about a year ago. So it was not the... I've wasted far more time on far lesser things. It was kind of a nice break this weekend.
I'm going to have to watch that.
We may have to review it at some point. It was fun.
Yeah.
Okay, 2 more things and then we'll get into Whisperer's Corner because we are running long tonight already.
And we got a late start.
I do want to say, I agree with you. The impeachment hearings, I just want to put this plug out there, you guys. This is your mandatory civic duty. No matter what side of the fence you fall on, if you are living in America in 2019, you should be paying attention. So that's my civic duty lecture.
I think if no matter which side you're on, if you're on either side or nobody's side, it's still riveting. Like, I was listening, because of course we are 4 hours behind the East Coast. Thank you very much.
So as we were getting up, things were just getting rolling.
Yeah, it like 5 a.m. Like, I was up at 3:30 for some reason. At 5 a.m., I was like, oh, click, here it is. And then, like, on the way to work, they were live streaming it on YouTube, so I was listening to it. And then at work, I was listening to it as much as possible as I can at work. But, yeah, I thought it was riveting. Like, there's a whole lot going on, and there's a lot of arguing. It's Jerry Springer with better suits, you know?
I actually elevated it a little bit more in my mind. I really felt like it or not, buy into the premise or not, this is our Constitution in action. This is actually what our founding fathers, for better or for worse, gave us as a remedy for situations that we think are intolerable.
It's only the 4th time in history out of 45 presidents.
I was listening to an interview today, and the historian who was being interviewed said it's something like once every 60 years.
Huh.
Yeah.
Wasn't that much time between Nixon and...
No, but if you kind of average it out over the lifespan of our republic.
Yeah.
So, anyway, folks, pay attention.
Once in a generation.
Yeah. Victoria Morris, you are excused because you live across the pond.
Yeah, you got Brexit that you're still going through.
Oh, good point.
Don't even concern yourself with our crap. It'll work itself out.
All right, the only other thing I wanted to say before I went into Whisperer's Corner, and this is totally frivolous, I bought a dress on eShakti.com.
And this is not a plug. We don't get paid for this.
Oh, no, it's totally a plug, but not because I get paid for it.
Right.
It's a fabulous product. It was really affordable. I was able to totally customize it. Like, you can go on and design, I want long sleeves, I want pockets, I want it to be floor length.
I've seen advertisements for this, yeah.
It's amazing. Plus, ethical employer in India. Meaningful ethical employment in India. So, you ladies out there, you guys who might want to wear a dress, I highly encourage taking a look at eShakti.
Aren't you glad I saved you from that dubious dress shop before?
Oh my God, because now I can spend all of my money at eShakti instead.
Before one of our podcasts, Diane and I were talking, and she was like, hey, do you think this store is legit or whatever?
Annie Cloth.
And it's one of...
Not legit.
Yeah. No, it's not. Like, you don't get what you ordered. The materials are super cheap. Like, it takes forever to get shipping. Sometimes they don't even just mail you anything, and it's past their, quote unquote return date. So they just scam you out of money. And so I just Googled the reviews, and I saved Diane from dropping a ton of money at this sketchy store.
Totally.
So that's cool you found a dress store.
Okay, so sorry, folks. You would never get this kind of review from me and Brian or Kirk and Jeff, but there you go. All right, Whisperer's Corner. Back to The Walking Dead.
Well, okay, so there's not a lot of Whisperers Corner this week.
But there were a couple of good things. So
Okay.
the first is that Netflix released a teaser for Selena this week.
Oh, yeah.
Which, I mean, we're definitely seeing a storyline that could potentially explain Christian Serratos' departure.
That's right.
So, the only other thing that I wanted to say about Selena is that her sisters are writers and producers in the project.
Oh,
Which
very cool.
I thought that was pretty cool.
A family affair.
All right, another woman power thing. So Gail Ann Hurd this week funded $1 million fellowship for women who are civil rights attorneys and advocates for other women.
Holy moly.
Yes. So she is working with a group called Legal Aid at Work. And basically, this fellowship guarantees positions for 5 attorneys who basically will be working to represent women and girls in the legal system. And the inaugural...
I'll have to tweet One Hot Mess Alaska. If you don't follow her on Twitter, you should.
Only if you're a lefty.
She is great.
Only if you're a lefty.
Yeah, that's true. But she's also gotten into this thing where she posts pictures of like stuff that she's shopping, and it'll be like these ridiculous, ugly turtlenecks, and she'll make snarky comments. So she's super funny.
And she's also really interesting because she's part of a lawsuit against the terrible governor of Alaska right now. So,
right. She's pretty much a civil rights attorney at this point because there's a recall for our governor. There's a recall petition, and
surprise, got shot down by the lieutenant governor. I'm so shocked.
Right, and he's packed the courts, so it won't go anywhere in court. But if you are a state employee and you signed the recall petition and you face repercussions at work, which is illegal, or you get fired, which is illegal, and which has been done, she will represent you for free.
And let's be honest, not that you guys really care about Alaskan politics, but basically what happened is this governor came into office and demanded that highly placed state employees sign a loyalty pledge.
That's crazy. That's like Negan level stuff.
Yes, and there were many...
Oh, no, it's Alpha.
There were, right. And there were many employees, this attorney among them, who did not choose to sign a loyalty pledge and left their jobs instead, or were fired because they wouldn't sign the pledge.
Right.
So, yeah, Alaska is very dystopian right now. Don't come here to live. Just come here for a vacation.
Or if the zombie apocalypse happens.
Because Marnell's got you set up.
Well, it's a great place for food. You're not going to run out of water because it falls from the sky on a regular basis. Yeah, I mean, unless it's Mayor Grant rules where it affects any mammal over 30, 40 pounds, Alaska's great.
All right.
And
go ahead.
If it does, we're dead.
Right. If it affects any mammal over a certain mass, do not come to Alaska because you'll be sorry.
Yeah. Nope. Zombie moose.
Okay, so the last 2 things I have in Whisperer's Corner are just our standard looks at Paul Tassi and Eric Kane. So Paul Tassi...
Oh, man.
You didn't look?
I completely spaced it.
How can you not look at the Forbes gurus?
I'm sorry. I was planning my escape route for the zombie apocalypse.
And looking at Margot Bingham. So, there you go.
Yeah, that's true. So, hit me with it.
All right. So, Paul Tassi points out that there are 2 big developments that are comic book developments. Negan joins the Whisperers, and Eugene makes contact with Stephanie. Mm-hmm. And he points out, and I agree, that they are fairly close to the book at this point. There are some lines that were ripped pretty much directly from the book this episode, which was very cool. And then Eric Kane called his review When Negan Met Alpha.
Like when Harry met Sally.
Exactly. So he said the episode was solid and engaging, but he feels like overall the let's grind it out with another group of bad guys is kind of a rut that the series has found itself in, and he still is advocating for, okay, let's plan an exit strategy for this series. But he did point out, which I was shocked to realize, we only have 2 episodes left in the first half.
Oh, I thought you were going to say 2 episodes left. I was like, what?
You're like, what? No. Well,
No, just taking a break for Christmas.
Spoiler alert, the comic book does end with the Commonwealth. So it'll be interesting to see how much further beyond Robert Kirkman's writing we take this.
I feel like we were anticipating the Commonwealth for like a really long time, and all of a sudden
it just nothing but talking about the Commonwealth in fear, because it felt like the helicopter people were a total setup for the Commonwealth.
Well, and then with Georgie and the twins and everything,
I don't think they're the Commonwealth.
Really?
I don't think they are.
Huh. Okay. Remains to be seen.
Remains to be seen. All right, let's move this ship forward toward the iceberg. What's your good?
So my good was the very end of the show. And not because it was over, but because it was an amazing way to go out. I loved it when Negan came walking through with the bloody stick, and he's like, get my skin suit ready and make sure it's extra long for my big ball. And then he, everything I have is yours. I kneel before you, blah, blah. And the look between those two and the way that Beta is looming over that, like, I'm just like, oh man, they are setting this up so high. It has to be good. If this fizzles, I'm going to be really upset. I'm so nervous as to who is going to do what. Is Negan going to kill Alpha, Beta? Is Carol going to kill Alpha? Is Daryl going to kill Beta? Like, how is this going to go down? I'm very excited.
So I think JDM is so on fire right now that there's no way this will fizzle.
They're giving him, like, for all of the time that he spent in that cell, they are giving him all of the good lines now. Mm-hmm. He had so many this episode. So what was your good?
So my good was Stephanie. I loved the exchange with Eugene. It felt really intimate, and he seemed genuinely happy for the first time in a long time. I'm also really glad that they finally addressed who was on the radio.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just looking forward to seeing how close they stick to the book, because I think they will, and I think it's going to evolve in a pretty cool way.
I do too. I haven't read the comic books to this point, but I don't stay away from spoilers after I've watched the show, so...
All right, old lady, get me my cane. What was your bad? We both decided that we are so old.
Okay, we are the Walking Dead.
We are the Walking Dead.
We're just falling apart. So we have complained in the past about how, and you are complaining now about how dark the episodes are. Like, our TVs were just not built for this type of cinema.
And for my old lady eyes.
Right? And I apparently need hearing aids, because I had to rewind it like 3 and 4 times to hear some of the dialogue between Carol and Daryl. Like, they mumble. Like, it just makes me feel like this decrepit little old lady who's like, eh. So I'm really, and they're not the only show that has had this. Like we've said, Game of Thrones has this complaint a lot of times. So I think that what they are filming it for is not what we're actually seeing. Like, this wasn't meant for our televisions. It was meant for the big screen or something. And they just need to quit being fancy.
I am here to tell you, I feel really bad and really old, but my complaint is absolutely the darkness. I lost so much of the captured whisperer stuff, and I lost a lot of the Daryl and Carol action because the cinematography is so dark. And I don't mean like grim, I mean gloomy and night, and I can't see what the heck is going on. Get me a headlamp.
You know, and it was one thing to do that. I think they did that in an episode. Well, and they did it in an episode of Game of Thrones intentionally, or they said it was intentional, to kind of make you feel the way the characters feel and that they're helpless in the dark and it's scary and blah, blah, blah. But we're over it. Like, the dark is scary. The whisperers are out there. Show them to us.
Yeah.
So my bad wasn't anything about any of the acting or writing or plot lines or anything like that. It's just that I love the show, but I cannot stand to have to click back 30 seconds every 5 minutes. It's taken way too much out of my life.
And I need a rewatch to get a better grip on what happened with the Captured Whisperer plot, and I definitely need to do it before next week.
I need to turn on closed captioning before next week.
Oh, yes. That does help my old lady eyes and your old lady ears.
Right? Exactly.
All right,
So, was that your bad?
That was my
dark?
bad. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, so again,
right.
for, not rating it as high as I've rated other episodes, I really didn't have a lot of bad. It was a little middle booky, but there was some great stuff.
Yeah. All right. So I really couldn't decide on an ugly. I have a lot of stuff to talk about, so I'll pick one and then we'll talk about the rest in Rotting Potpourri.
Okay.
So my ugly was kind of a bad ugly. We complain a lot about how at 13 years into the zombie apocalypse, you should be a pro at not letting walkers build up on the fence and, not turning your back on a horde and blah, blah, blah. But you have a whole bunch of really direly sick people. You need to tie them to their beds because they're going to die in the middle of the night and it's going to be havoc. Right?
Okay. I had an observation that I was saving for Rotting Potpourri, but this is perfect timing. There is hardly anybody around who remembers the influenza outbreak in the prison. When you think about who's left from the survivors, it's Carol,
Maggie,
and Daryl, and Maggie.
Yeah.
Maggie's not there. Carol and Daryl are out doing their own thing. They're not in Alexandria. No one who has seen what the flu can do was around for season 4.
That's right. Huh. I didn't think of that. Here I was thinking that Sadiq and Dante by now should have totally housed this thing out and been like, well, these 4 people had no contact with these 8 people, so how did they all get the same flu virus? They work and live on opposite sides of Alexandria, and, they don't go to the same things, they don't work in the same place. I wonder if it's something in our environment, they should have totally housed this out by now.
And so, of course, there totally is speculation that it's because Gamma has been poisoning the water supply. Although I think you said it last week, which is we're all already infected anyway. What is she doing?
Right. And aren't you boiling that water? Right?
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know how they're getting sick. You already have the zombie virus, and you should be boiling the water. If you're drinking it straight out of that little crick, if you're Southern, crick. Crick. I have a friend who says crick, and it drives me insane. In a good way, it drives me insane. I have to make fun of her. But Yeah, so we figured it out because last episode we were like, okay, they say they're damming the creek, but it looks like they're poisoning the creek. Which one are they doing? And it turns out a little bit of both. So I guess the more they dam it, the more potent the zombie guts is downstream. I don't know.
Yeah.
But
that doesn't,
yeah,
pun intended, hold water for me. But but I do think that, yes, the flu is a threat. Yes, you are right. They need to be prepared for these people to turn. I think it's highly possible that no one's ever seen anything like this before. And the people that we have who have are not around.
Yeah, and it probably just goes to show how we let our guards down. When we think that we are safe, we let our guards down and we get complacent about things like this. And then, of course, something terrible happens. So, we deal with it, and then our guards are up for a little while, and then it's just a cycle, So I get it. And, Sadiq's got a whole bunch of other crap on his mind, so he gets a pass. But Dante's just like a bro.
He is such a dude, bro, but I actually really appreciated him even more this week. Flirting with a little old lady cracked me up.
I was going to say, he kind of hit some soft spots for me.
I agree.
He can stick around.
I agree.
So what was your ugly?
So you kind of hit on it. I'm just going to reinforce it because it was so good, but the Negan and Beta show. I thought Beta's frustration with Negan was hilarious. The line, "Cool your tits, Jolly Green Giant," is like right out of the comics. I thought Negan was the most compelling part of this episode, and I thought JDM was terrific.
It's the Negan we hate loving.
Right?
Yeah.
No longer the Negan we love hating.
Yeah. We hate loving him.
Yeah, no, I was totally into Negan. He was hilarious, he was charming, and to see Beta so frustrated just totally did it for me.
Okay, so when Beta told Negan to dig, you were not fooled, were you? You didn't think that he was making Negan dig his own grave.
I actually kind of thought he might be.
Okay, but they wouldn't bury him. They would just make him a guardian.
Good point.
Right?
Good point.
Yeah, like, I was just like, no, I don't know what they're doing. I don't know. Actually, what I did think was I was like, okay, so one of the major things that cults do is they break you down physically as well as mentally.
Mm-hmm.
They'll use sleep deprivation, cold showers, things like that. And so I was like, maybe they're just making him dig to exhaust him, and then they're going to just, I don't know, torture him somehow and brainwash him. I did not expect luau. That was not on my bingo card.
Oh my god, that's so funny. I could so go for some Kahlua pork right now.
Oh, that poor pig. He's died twice now.
Oh my gosh, that's Mouse. She's talking to us. Hey, Mousy Mouse.
Oh, Mouse wants pig too.
She's dreaming.
Oh, of bacon.
And when she runs, her little stump runs too.
Oh, that's
I know.
so sad.
It is so sad.
That's funny.
All right, I think we are deeply into rotting potpourri at this point. I am kicking it off my shoes.
So, which begs the question, cake or waffle?
Huh?
Cake, cone, or waffle? Oh, come on. Cake, cone, or waffle?
I am totally not following.
Wow. You need to go back and rewatch. So there was one of the things that Stephanie and Eugene talked about before they talked about serious stuff.
I totally need to rewatch because I too have old lady ears. I apparently need a walker, a cane, glasses, and hearing aids.
And some ginkgo biloba.
I would have to say waffle cone.
Me too. Like, who chooses cake? Nobody. But I thought that was just adorable. Like, because they also made a point of it on Talking Dead. But I just thought that was
finished talking. I just ran out of time this week.
Stephanie and Eugene talked about the ice cream shop that they had both been to, and she was like, "We could have been there at the same time." You know, and it was this rando shop in some little town of Pennsylvania, all because Eugene visited some train museum when he was a kid. And so I love that they had that just random weird connection, because that totally happens in life where, I mean, I know people now that I went to high school with, and like I went to school with all my life. And I really just met them like in our early 30s, you know, like,
so
it's like,
another,
where were you?
Another detour into Dianne Marnell and Marnell's weird lives. The nurse practitioner who is training me for my new job was adopted into a family who lived in the town that you and I were raised in. And I am yes, and I am a year older.
Oh my God.
I am a year older than her adopted sister. We went to the same grade school, and we have the same first name.
This is the smallest world sometimes.
Totally
okay,
random. So yes, Eugene and Stephanie, I can totally see the link, and I'm sorry that I missed that part of the dialogue. I clearly need to go back and watch. And I abase myself to all of the biters who paid better attention than I did. It's been a crazy week.
It has. But so it was also really, really smart and of course, if it truly is the Commonwealth, which we all kind of assume it was, of course, smart on their part, and they are smart, to not give away any details about their location or how many people they have or anything like that.
That's right on book. She refused to give Eugene any information.
Well, and I was also thinking it's not just Eugene, because what do we see in Fear the Walking Dead? Other people are listening, you know? So I think it was very smart of her to say, we're not doing that. And then he was like, okay, that's a really good idea. We won't do that. So, because we've seen it before when somebody talks on the radio, Alicia, and gets, pirates to attack the boat.
Oh, I forgot.
I know.
It's been a long time since I've seen that.
Season 1 of Fear.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All right.
So what you got?
I gotta ask you, am I overthinking it, or was the new thing in the trailer, or the new thing in the title card, did the lights come on in the windmill this time and they've never come on before?
They always come on.
Do they?
I think, yeah, at least this season, if not also last season. Yeah.
I assumed it was because Sadiq was up in the windmill.
Yeah, I specifically looked for stuff in the windmill because of the Sadiq scene, but I have not seen anything new in the beginning in a while. So, yeah. I looked, but no.
Huh. Okay. Then I didn't see anything new in the title card. I was just faking myself out. I think we need to look at Nabila as our featured cast at some point. I don't think we've ever talked about her other than in the article about Angel Theory and the Walker Stalker Con fiasco.
I feel like we might have.
Did we?
But maybe
I'm
not.
not sure that we have. I don't think we have.
I'll have to take a look at her stuff. But speaking of Sadiq, so is PTSD known to cause this type of like lost time, sleepwalking kind of psychosis?
So people who have really severe PTSD can have psychotic features. They can have lost time. They can have what's called a fugue state, which is where you kind of do and say things and don't remember.
Right. You're you're able to walk, talk, drive, eat, operate heavy machinery, and then you don't remember.
Right.
Which is basically the same thing as being on Ambien.
So I think it's legit.
Oh, I definitely think it's legit. I just didn't know if it was just the PTSD or if something else is causing this. But, I mean, given what he has been through, the stress of a new baby, and now this outbreak, you know, the guy's going to crack. And, man, if he loses Rosita, I mean, I know they're not together, but I feel like they're more together than Rosita and Gabe sometimes.
Yeah, like the whole Rosita Gabe thing is weird.
It is weird, and like I said, I feel like Siddiq and Rosita are more of a couple. They connect more, they talk more, they spend more time together. Gabe wasn't even in this episode. Like, he's not even on the Man on the Radio. He's not out looking for Negan. I don't know where he went. Like, that baby was born, and he's like, peace out.
Yeah. I mean, I was reading an article, and they were making the point that Rosita was spending way more time on the radio with Eugene than she has spent with Gabe in a long time.
That's very true. And, you know, if she is that sick, then you would expect Gabe to be by her side.
Good point.
I mean, there's an outbreak. Siddiq needs to be in the hospital, and Rosita's sick. Like, Gabe, if Gabe truly, you know, wants to be with Rosita and raise the baby and blah, 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 he needs to be there. I don't know what he's doing.
Well, he'll be mourning her when she dies to go play Selena.
Oh, that's funny. So, it was brought up by someone on Twitter, and they talked about it on Talking Dead, and it did not occur to me until that moment. But we've talked about it a little bit before. All of the Whisperers think that Lydia is dead, and she's not. And Negan and Lydia are kind of BFFs, and now Negan's with the Whisperers, so when is that going to come out? Right?
Yeah.
Because Negan talks a lot. That'll be interesting. That might be Alpha's downfall right there. I mean, it may not be Negan or Carol or Daryl that kills her. It may be the Whisperers gang up on her and throw her to the Horde.
I'm thinking about Carl's storyline and the fact that Lydia has assumed some of Carl's story, and I'm just wondering where they're going to take the character. And I don't have a good...
Yeah. I was going to say Judith, but yeah, I guess Lydia has taken over some of the storyline.
Oh, she has gotten quite a bit of Carl's storyline.
Yeah. But so it was just a little moment on Talking Dead from someone on Twitter, and I was like, oh yeah. So that'll be interesting.
I'm looking through my notes here. Keep going.
I have a ton of notes. So time for Beta to become the Alpha? ? I don't think Beta could ever be Alpha. I don't think he wants to be Alpha. He needs a leader.
I agree with you. I think he's a follower. I don't think he's a leader.
I honestly think if she died and he was left to his own volition, like somebody didn't kill him also immediately, he'd go like walk off a cliff, or he'd take his mask off in a horde of zombies or something. You know, I think he would just kill himself without her. His whole identity is her.
Yeah, I think you're right. I don't think he has it in him to be Alpha, and I don't think he ever will be.
Yeah,
But
no,
like
I
I
don't think he
said,
wants to be.
you know, she and Alpha and Beta had a crisis of confidence in each other. Daryl and Carol had the whole thing over the gun and her planning to capture a whisperer and Daryl rifling through her bag. You know, I thought
Yeah,
that
there's
whole thing was very interesting. I was actually really bummed out that Daryl did that. I didn't like that there
yeah,
was that doubt between the two characters.
yeah. I felt kind of icky about that too. And I think there's going to be larger repercussions when there's more downtime, when we're not going to war with the Whisperers. I think those two, because that's not going to be forgotten between them. They're going to go off and have a talk together, and I don't know, they're either going to make up or one of them's going to be bullheaded, and that may be, how Carol leaves. Maybe she goes to New Mexico.
No, I don't think so.
I don't think so either, but there's definitely going to be a ripple effect in their relationship.
Like I said, totally bummed out that it happened.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, so speaking of taking your mask off in the middle of a horde, okay, I get that there's whispers on all sides of Negan, but he is stumbling around in the middle of that horde without any sort of camouflage. No guts, no mask, nothing. And he's talking really loudly. He's whispering really loudly.
He's awful. He is not a whisperer.
I don't know how the zombies haven't taken notice, because the minute Gamma's sister took her mask off, they were on her. So I don't know how they're jiving that one with kind of how zombie hordes work. So
it was all about the Negan storyline and not necessarily about the rules of the zombie apocalypse as spelled out in the TV series.
We are nothing if not
inconsistent.
Right.
All right, so Carol hinting at shipping with Connie.
Oh, okay, so I have to tell you, I did not write anything down about Daryl and Carol's storyline in this episode. It was all about everybody else, but yeah, that was adorable. The little smile on his face.
It was also super sad because I felt like he was like, nah, never gonna happen.
I almost feel like either they really are making his character either asexual or gay, or it's going to come out that, he was so physically and verbally and mentally abused in his childhood that he just doesn't feel like he deserves love, or that he has the capacity to return, love, or, so I think there's either going to be the whole sexuality or a complete mental block. But I really hope Connie breaks through, because we've been shipping Daryl with people since season 1, but I think this is the one. I think Connie's the one.
I'm looking at my Daryl Dixon business card holder right now. Not to be confused with my Daryl Dixon keychain, bag, or sweatshirt. Yeah.
Yeah.
I really thought that the harassing that Negan did of Beta about the relationship between Alpha and Beta with benefits. Do you slide her a little Omega on the side? Those were hilarious.
And the whole bald head just clenches my britches. Is that what he said?
He made,
like I said,
yeah,
he had some great lines this episode. But Eugene had a really good line. Do you remember it?
I don't think I do.
So he was talking to Rosita, and she's like, "Are you coming back anytime soon?" And he's like, "Well, they have me doing this and this and this and that. Everybody wants a little slice of Eugene."
Oh my
Oh
god,
my
that's
God.
hilarious.
I nearly died. I was like, okay, I heard that, and I still have to rewind it and listen.
So
That was
I'm actually
funny.
looking at my notes, and I did write down something about waffle cones. So I just didn't remember it, but I did write it down.
Oh, do you remember Walker Long Johns? Negan
No.
Negan was asking what they wear down there,
Oh,
if they just go
if they
commando.
go commando. That was funny.
And like I just had this flash in my mind of them like fully skinning somebody and wearing a full body suit. It just ooked me out. Yeah, no. Like Sinbad said on Talking Dead, nope, you gotta go commando. Like you don't get to shower, it's hot, you're walking around, it's dirty.
You
You just
know, no, all I have to
things gotta
say
air out.
is ticks.
Oh, that's right.
Stephen Yoon talked about that.
Oh, see, and I forget about that because we don't have a real big tick problem up here. I mean, we have them, but they're not. I mean, I can go camping for, a week without having any issue. Like maybe my dog gets one, It's just not a thing up here yet. Climate change is changing that.
Yeah.
Yeah, they are seeing more and more ticks on the wild animals up here. So, I forget about ticks. Ugh.
So this is not related to ticks, but it's kind of a health thing also. Coco is really vulnerable to this flu as an infant.
Okay, so I was wondering about that. I don't think that they have any baby formula this far into the apocalypse.
Oh no, I'm sure
So
Rosita
I'm
was breastfeeding and baby got some immunity that way, but baby is still really vulnerable. And let's face it, there's no pediatric ICU.
Right, and if Rosita dies, that's Coco's food source gone. I don't know if
she's
there's...
old enough now that they could potentially transition her onto solids. But
Okay.
I'm thinking about her
I didn't
immune
think she
system
was.
and just her overall vulnerability as an infant.
Yeah.
All right, so I have the question of the night for you, which is Negan really all in?
Oh, heck no.
Okay.
No way. His wheels are turning. He was not up for this crap until Brandon pulled what he did and killed the family. And now he's just like, you know what? I need to work some stuff out. I'm going to go kill somebody. And I think he's going to try and get back in the good graces of the Alexandrians. Because he wanted to stay, he wanted to stay in Hilltop. He had the opportunity to leave and he didn't. He came back to his cell and then he was on work release. But then that whole incident with the leftover Minutemen happened and he had to skedaddle. But I think he's going to try and take care of the Whisperers and come back as a hero. No, Negan's not a follower.
Even though he protests that he's a joiner. Sign me up!
Oh,
all right.
If for nothing else, he could not stand to wear that mask.
I don't have any more writing potpourri. It sounds like you do.
I don't, actually. I had some stuff written down, but we've kind of been through it.
So we have some feedback, and we've been super bad.
We have.
About feedback.
So we got a message from Shenandoah Grand Poobah.
Gore.
Let's see. Gore, yes. I don't know how far... Oh, it doesn't go that far back. Whoops. The woman on the bus, Amelia, was telling Negan that she and Milo had been doing for the past few years.
Oh, so she was telling us about the title, where last week's title came from.
Yeah. Spent some time with this group or that, but in the end, it's always what it is, just me and Milo. So that's where the title came from last episode.
It is what it always is. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
And someone else gave us feedback on the page, too. I'll try to find that while you are telling us what Victoria Morris had to say.
So Victoria Morris has been catching up on Fear the Walking Dead. I'm very sorry to hear that. But it will enable you to listen to our episodes critiquing Fear the Walking Dead. So that's a small consolation. So she also said, "Hey, housewives, I am finally up to date. Was working from home due to laryngitis. Get better. Hope you don't have the zombie flu."
Right.
We'll have to tie you to your bed so you don't turn in the middle of the night and kill the rest of us. Or do, because, I have a plan for the zombie apocalypse. So snuck in a binge early this morning, was mildly underwhelmed by the last 2 episodes, and she's talking about Fear. I have to say, but the last 2, and now she's talking about Talking Dead, the last 2 have more than made up for it. Negan and the Whisperers is comedy gold. I completely agree. He'll last about 5 minutes with that silent philosophy. I wouldn't say 5 minutes, like 5 seconds. Now just need to catch up with the last 2 episodes of the podcast. You responded and said, "So great to hear from you. Get well." And then she sent us a recommendation, which I am wholeheartedly going to take up if I can find it. I might have to get BritBox. I don't know. Meant to say to you as well, I'm hooked on a UK series called Zomboat. I hope that's how you say it. Half-hour comedy set in a zombie apocalypse, which started in Birmingham, UK, and 2 sisters are surviving on a canal boat, really enjoying it.
It's you and me.
Right? It's the Real Housewives of Bingham, UK. She said it recently started on Hulu in the US. Don't know if this link will work for you. And she sent us a link. So I will definitely check that out. I've been searching for another half-hour comedy since The Big Bang Theory ended. And there's so much good TV out there, but there's not a lot of good comedy. It's a lot of drama, and it's a lot of hour-long series. So sometimes when it's like, I can't do another hour episode before bed. Do we have anything that's a half an hour? Definitely going to check out Zomboat.
So West Wing is not a half an hour, Victoria. But I'm going to put in another plug for West Wing. All right. So you posted a really funny picture of the meme that we see a lot that gets kind of reworked for things, where the guy is walking along with his girlfriend and is checking out another girl. So it's Alpha and Beta, and Alpha's checking out Negan, which was hilarious.
Oh, that end scene!
Yes. So we got a comment from Barry Pettis. He said, "So now that we've seen Negan bow to Alpha, we know he's pretending." Thank you. I agree. Sounds like Marnell does too. Don't think he would intentionally bow to anyone. Sad, but it seems they are using the sickness to kill Rosita. Oh my god, I forgot. Did it seem like she was really missing Eugene and perhaps she was having second thoughts? Like I said a few weeks ago, with Gabriel playing with radios and Sadiq having problems, Eugenius is looking pretty good.
Everyone wants a slice of Eugene.
Nikki Campbell-Keith said that meme is perfect. Loved the episode. Negan is my not-so-guilty pleasure, and I'm here for he and Alpha's most assuredly dysfunctional relationship. Such a good season so far. I agree. It's been phenomenal at some points and incredibly solid at the others.
Yeah.
Phil said we should switch who's Alpha and who's Negan in this pick. That guy is totally making a Negan face.
I don't know what possessed me. I normally don't go make my own memes, but I was just like, oh, that's so perfect. And so I went to Meme Generator and I made that one.
It. Oh, that's hilarious.
Yeah, so that's a Marnell original.
Very good.
If you see that anywhere else on the internet, that was me.
So going back a little bit further into feedback that you and I have been very remiss about getting to, Diane LaSorsa also pointed out that what it always is comes from the conversation that Negan and the woman on the bus had. And then Richard Mark Wilson, thank you so much, said that he always enjoys the podcast and he's got 10 minutes left on the episode for last week. He said it makes my journey to and from work pass quicker.
Aw, thank you.
And he said he's wondering where this third show will be shown in the UK. So you listen from overseas. Thank you, Richard. He said Walking Dead is on Fox UK and Fear is on BT, a cable channel from the phone company. So,
oh, that's funny. They're split.
Yeah, that is funny.
They must have sold the rights to two separate places. That's interesting. Well, I am sure that it will be carried over in the UK. I don't think they're going to forget about you because The Walking Dead is a worldwide phenomenon. So rest easy.
Oh, yeah. You'll just have to let us know where we can watch it if we ever make the trip across the pond.
Yes.
All right. Dawn Rains said, quick bit of information. Wilfred lasted 4 seasons. It had a beginning and an end. It was amazingly intelligent and funny, and I loved it.
Okay. I was really on the fence. It looked kind of dumb, but it also had Elijah Wood, and I'm like, I really like Elijah Wood. The guy who plays the dog kind of looks kind of dumb comedy-ish. I was really on the fence. Yeah, 4 seasons is a little long. It's still on the list.
So we also had a comment from Sean Freeman, and I'm just going to say, you guys, if you want someone who makes you feel good, follow Sean on Facebook, because about every 2 or 3 days, he'll post some really positive thing and then says, Freeman loves you all, have a great day, or something like that. And it always makes you feel good.
Aww.
So he does the Zombie Cast, and he said, good listen, I gave you guys a shout out on Zombie Cast Live's Monday show. So I will admit I am horribly remiss. I have not listened to any of my Walking Dead podcasts last week or this, so I need to get caught up on my commute. So hey, Freeman, and I still owe you a hat, man. I'm going to work on it. I'm not kidding.
Okay, so this makes me long for the days when I never really had a long commute, but long for the days when I can drive for more than 20 minutes at a time, because that's Juneau. End to end, it's probably 35 minutes, literally from one end of the road to the far end of the road, and that's it. So it's really hard for me to listen to podcasts driving, because it gets interrupted, and then it's really hard for me to listen at work. And then in my off time, I have a whole bunch of television I have to watch, because otherwise I'm just not as witty and funny as I think I am.
So I can't listen at work because I'm doing patient care. I'm seeing patients, and I'm fielding calls and ordering labs and doing stuff like that. My commute's a little bit shorter, but I've got about a half an hour each way. I've been binging on Angry Americans. So I need to take a little political break and listen to some Walking Dead podcasts. So Freeman, I will check that episode out. Thank you so much. Guys, follow Sean Freeman. Yep. The only other thing that I wanted to bring up on our listener feedback is that Shenandoah Grand Poobah Gore said, hello, Mouse in the house, when I posted the picture of Mouse last week. Trish Murphy suggested calling Mouse Hershey for Herschel.
Aww. Because the missing leg.
So, in a week, she looks so much freaking better, you guys. She is just really perking up. She's putting on some weight. She's growing some hair. So, I'm going to post another Mouse picture tonight, and we just want to say we love ya.
Yeah, thank you. Wow. So...
We've talked for a long time again.
We did.
It's
Sean
easy
will
to talk.
have a lot to listen to in his commute. Oh, man. I am so excited about this rest of this season. This has been a solid season. It's been such a great season after such a bad season of Fear. I can't believe we only have 2 episodes left until the mid-season finale.
I know. So, you guys, I think we are going to try to catch up on Preacher and finish out season 4 because Preacher is now over and we have been horribly remiss. So, if we do some Preacher podcasts, I may link them in biters so people can listen to them if they want to. I think we should watch Overlord. I would watch it again.
Yes. Absolutely. And God, the only other plug I have is Watchmen. Yeah, and you gotta have HBO.
You said it was really good. I think it might be worth buying this season though, because I think you can probably buy it on iTunes if you don't have HBO.
It is, yeah. I think so. I need to listen to Phil about it. Like, I'm loving the show so much that I need to hear what Phil has to say.
I've been horribly remiss on my Capes and Lunatics, too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's been rough, but don't worry. I have planned that the zombie apocalypse will not happen until after season 10. So we have that to look forward to.
And depending on how good the new series is, we may delay the zombie apocalypse interminably.
So, yeah, AMC just has to keep churning out the Walking Dead properties, and I'll just keep putting off the apocalypse. Although I don't know if I can hold my friends back, so just be aware. So, but until then, just remember, take it one dead day at a time. Have a good week, everybody.
Have a good week, fighters.
Bye.
Bye. Ugh.